Stampers, welcome to the craft room. In today's video I'd like to show you how to make this quick and easy card, which will also give you an introduction to the new Stampin Sanding System as well as the Dust Buddy. So let's get started. We're going to begin with our Coordinations cardstock. This is in Early Espresso, and what's neat about the Coordinations cardstock is that it's textured on one side, smooth on the other, and it actually has a white core in the center, which makes it really wonderful for creating some beautiful embossed and distressed looks. So I've gone ahead and taken this piece of Coordinations cardstock. This is 1 3/4 by 4 1/4, and I ran it through the Big Shot with my lacy brocade embossing folder, and this is what I came out with. Now what we're going to do is actually sand the raised area of this pattern, and we're going to do that with the new Stampin' Up! Sanding block, which is a part of the new Stampin' Sanding System. When you receive your Stampin' Up! Sanding System, it's going to come with this foam block, and you'll notice that it has two areas of Velcro, a larger area and a smaller area. It's also going to come with 2 larger sanding papers and 2 smaller sanding papers, and you'll have 1 each of a very fine grit and 1 each of a fine grit. And all you do, because this has a bit of a cloth back, is just place it on the Velcro and push down, and it will be secure for all of your sanding needs. And what's nice, as your sandpaper runs out or gets used up, you can just peel it off and add another piece. You can actually buy a replacement pack that comes with 4 larger pieces and 4 smaller pieces. Again, half of them will be very fine grit and half of them will be fine grit. So we're just going to use the larger side, and I'm just going to sand pretty lightly in a circular motion, and you can see that it's taking off that top layer of Early Espresso color and getting us right down to that lighter core of the cardstock. So we're just going to keep sanding away, and I'm being delicate here only because my embossing folder and all of that embossing has made my cardstock a little bit more delicate and easily bendable. So I just want to be careful that I'm not tearing my cardstock as I'm going about my sanding. So once you feel satisfied with your sanding, you will notice that you've created quite a bit of a mess on your work surface, and there's also quite a bit of dust on your cardstock. Well, this is where your Coordinations Dust Buddy comes in, and I actually am storing mine in a Ziploc bag. When you first receive your Dust Buddy, it's going to look as if it's cheesecloth, which it actually isn't. When you open it up from the package it comes in, you'll first notice it has a very strong odor. That odor will go away over time, but in the beginning you will want to work in a well-ventilated area. Also, your Dust Buddy sheet is actually 13 3/4 inches by 33 1/2 inches. So it's quite large. So what I do is actually cut it down to smaller rectangular pieces that I can use. And this is a rectangular piece that I have been using. So let me just open this up. And you can see that it will get dingy depending on what it is you're picking up with your Dust Buddy. What your Dust Buddy is, although it looks like cheesecloth, it actually is quite tacky. So it has a coating on it that creates this tackiness so that it makes it really easy to pick up your debris from your sanding. So all I'm going to do is rub my Dust Buddy over this surface, and you can see that that dust isn't going anywhere. It's stuck in my Dust Buddy, which is really nice. And I'm going to run it across the surface of my cardstock as well. So it traps all of that dust and debris. And you can keep using this until it loses all of its tackiness. So you can fold it over and inside out. And again, you get many pieces out of one large Dust Buddy. The other nice thing about your Dust Buddy is it does not leave any kind of coating on your cardstock, so you can continue working on your project without any worries. You could continue sanding or adding some ink to those raised areas, whatever it is that you'd like to do. So to put together this quick card, we're just going to do a little bit of stamping. I'm bringing in a piece of pink pirouette cardstock, and I'm bringing in this particular stamp from the From My Heart stamp set, and we're just going to stamp this using Early Espresso. And then I'm going to come in with my extra large oval punch. I happen to have the older version of this, but obviously you can get it in the newer version. And I'm just going to punch that out. And I'm just going to set that aside so the ink can dry just a little bit. And we're going to take our pink pirouette card base, and this card base is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I've scored it in the middle, so I'm just going to go ahead and fold it on that score, and I'm just going to use my bone folder to go ahead and just press out that crease. And we're just going to use some Tombow Mono multi-adhesive to adhere this piece down to the card base. So I'm just using a little bit of adhesive around the edges and a little bit in the middle. And we're just going to go ahead and adhere that to the card about 3/4 of the way down, I guess. And now we're going to take a piece of crumb cake seam binding, and this piece I've cut a little bit long, so you probably need about 14 inches or so of your crumb cake seam binding, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie a knot here. And then we're going to end up using our ribbon scissors to make our ends look pretty. So just grabbing our ribbon scissors here and just giving our ends a little snip. And then I'm just going to take this punched piece and I'm going to use my finger to distress this. You can actually use a distressing tool as well, but I find my fingernail works fine, only because I don't have beautifully manicured nails. If you do have beautifully manicured nails, you'll want to go ahead and use a distressing tool to get this kind of edge on your cardstock. And then I'm actually going to do just a tiny bit of sponging around the edges with my early espresso as well, just to create some dimension once we put this down onto our card. And as a finishing touch to this piece, I'm just going to bring in a little bit of Tombow Mono multi-adhesive, and I'm going to use 3 of these adhesive pearls and add those to the front. And you may be wondering why, if they are adhesive pearls, I'm actually using Tombow Mono multi-adhesive as well. I actually like to do that to reinforce these adhesive pearls, just in case the card goes through some abuse in the mail. I ensure that they aren't going to go anywhere, so I just like to add that additional adhesive as an extra safety measure so that my pearls don't go anywhere. And then we're just going to add a few dimensionals to the back of this piece. And we're just going to adhere that piece down right over on this side of our card. So there you have it, a really simple card that you can make using your Stampin' Sanding System and your Dust Buddy. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon here in the craft room.